Right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Bjorn Backerberg. I'm a Senior User Community Support Officer at the EGI Foundation. My job is to support scientific research communities in accessing and using advanced computing infrastructure that is provided through the EGI Foundation. So today we'll be talking about the EGI Marketplace, which is a platform that that users can use to access a variety of EGI services. When you go to the marketplace.egi.eu URL, as you can see at the top here, this is the landing page. It's very much like a shopping area. So what you can see here are the number of services that EGI provides, with some highlights and some detail about the marketplace itself and sort of why we like to use the marketplace, because it's easy to find, easy to access. You can customize your own services, and we think it's very simple. At the bottom here, you see the EGI Marketplace service is provided by these service providers here. And if you want to find out more about EGI, you can subscribe to our newsletter or have a look at our website. So today we will walk through an example of accessing a compute and storage service. So we're going to start with the compute service by just clicking on it here. And then this takes you to the different subcategories of compute that are available through the EGI Foundation. So we will select a cloud compute service today, which is basically just a service to run virtual machines on demand on the various computing infrastructures. So at the bottom, we have about 4 different instances that you can choose from, depending on your requirements, and we will choose just a general purpose instance for today's demonstration. So when you click on the request access, it'll take you to this page here, which will give you some additional features and information and some example applications, what you should be using this for. So then on the far right, you have this menu with some drop-down options where you can select either the number of cores. For example, today we will select 4 cores, and then you can select how many gigabytes of RAM you want per core. So this being a general instance, general purpose instance, the number of RAM is fairly low. Then for each application, you have sort of local disk that you need to assign to that virtual machine, and then here you have a choice of the various gigabytes. We'll keep it at 10 gigabytes for now. At this, you can choose the number of VM instances that you want, up to 50. We will just select 1 for the purposes of this demonstration. Access type is something quite important. You can choose opportunistic or reserved. That's basically the difference between those two. Is for an opportunistic selection, the computing resources are available when there is capacity, essentially, on the service provider. If it's reserved, it's kind of a 24/7 service. So for something like a web server, you want it to be reserved. Opportunistic, you can use, for example, if you want to batch process a large amount of data, that doesn't have to happen in an operational setting, for example. Then so for this instance, we're just going to select reserved because we can. And at the start of the service, you basically select your date when you want it to start. Please be aware that typically this request goes to our user community support team, and then it typically takes a week or 2 before you actually get access. But so the sooner you want access, just bear that in mind so that it's not instantaneous, because we need to still find the service provider that can support your needs. And then here you can scale the number of days you want the service to be live. So here we're going to just use a year. Oops. And then we're just going to add this to cart. I forgot to mention the number of public IPs. This is just how many access points you want to your virtual machine. So we add to cart, and then you can either continue shopping or you can proceed to checkout. But in this case, we want to continue shopping because we're not quite done. So usually for a compute instance, you also require some storage. So in this instance, we're going to click on storage here. And then this takes you to these 2 subcategories. You have the option for archive storage and online storage. So for a computing instance, you usually want to work with online storage. And the most common type of storage is this block storage here. So we request access here. This takes you to this menu where you have more information. And then here you can choose the capacity, the storage capacity that you want. We're just going to scale it up for 300. And again, we want it to be reserved. And if there are any special kind of requirements that you need, you note those here. You add this to cart, it takes you to the same menu. You can either continue shopping or proceed to checkout. I wanted to quickly show you an example of a different type of compute service as well, which is the cloud compute instance, but also the high memory instance, because that is a feature that we're quite stoked about. Here you can request memory instances of up to 120 gigabytes if you so desire. So these are for high memory intensive applications. But I'm not going to add that to the cart just now. I just wanted to highlight that. So if you want to check out, to get access to your service, you go click on your cart, and that takes you here, and you can review your request. And then what you have to do is you have to effectively log in to request the service. So here you click on request your service, and then this will take you to the EGI single sign-on. So either you have your account, in my case I have the EGI single sign-on, so I use that to log in. And that would then, here's my account details. Then I can provide some additional information about the customer typology, the reason I want to access the service. So here it's usually a good idea to provide information of the type of application that you want to run, the scientific use case, for example, so that we can match you with the correct service provider on our end. The more information you put here, the better. And if you have any other comments, please use this here. You have to agree to the terms and conditions. So here I'm going to leave a message. This is a test, so that the team knows not to process this on the other end. And then you agree to the terms and conditions, and then you confirm your order by checking out here. And here's an error. I needed to provide a reason. So it's important that you provide a reason. So here I'm going to write this is a test again, but in your case, you would give detail about the scientific application that you want to be using. And then hopefully it'll work. The manual request to access the EGI service. Oh dear. Single user. Just double check this. There it worked. So sometimes you just have to fiddle with it until it works. And here you can see then the list of services that you have requested. Here for me are orders that I've done in the past. And that's that.